This video is going to discuss the concept of the lexical void and whether we feel that using Soundscape could help to fill that lexical void. So the lexical void is a term that I'm using to describe the words that are missing for AAC users. So all the things that AAC users can't say because they're limited to the symbols and the messages that have been programmed into their devices. We all have a huge lexicon, and that is unique to us. Our selection of words that we use on a daily basis or for specific social groups is unique to each individual, and that should be the same for AAC users. However, we tend to give all AAC users the same vocabulary to start off with and then personalise it as best we can. So the lexical void is the gap between what people want to say and what they can actually say on their communication aid, and we're hoping that Soundscape could address that gap. This slide shows some of the things that we do when we communicate that uses sounds that we can't do on current communication aids that use whole words. For example, we can't babble or we can't make up nonsense words. Nonsense words may not sound an important skill, but it's a huge part of children's literature, children's songs, and also within adult words. If you think about something like Klingon or think about Shakespeare, Jabberwocky, poetry, there's lots of words that are in there that we may want to be able to say. We can't do lots of the pre-literacy skills such as sounding a word out, rhyme, blending the sounds, or making mistakes with words. There may be some onomatopoeia, so maybe animal sounds that may be stored in there, but a lot of onomatopoeia, so for example something like ni, nor, might not be able to be done on current communication aids. Code switching is mentioned on here. That could be code switching between languages or between dialects, and that is a very problematic area on current communication aids, but it could be done through using Soundscape, through making sure the person has the right sounds for the languages or the dialects that they need. And then lastly, I've got on there about how you might want to pronounce your name. I'm sure there are people here who have names that constantly get pronounced in a way that isn't their preferred way. So for example, my name, Andrea, is often pronounced Andrea or Andrea, or my preferred way is Andrea. It's very difficult in current communication aids to make that differentiation between them, but if you're using a Soundscape, you can choose the way that you would want your words to be pronounced. If we think about all of those things that we do with sounds rather than whole words, and then come back to this idea of the lexical void, we know that we can provide vocabulary for symbol AAC users based on what we know about typically developing communicators, and we can personalise this to include information we know about the individual. But can we really give AAC users all the vocabulary that they need? And can we ever really predict what they might want to say? So thinking about what are AAC users actually missing out on. Sociolect is an integral part of our identity and is incredibly complex and unique for each person. So our sociolect is made up of lots of different features and different influences. So it may be our peer group, it could be our hobby or our occupation, it could be age specific. So toddler speak is very different to teen speak, and that's again very different from other age groups. It might be culturally specific vocabulary, or it could include non-standard vocabulary such as names, people's names, place names. All of these things are incredibly difficult to do on an AAC device. And then in addition to sociolect, we also have dialect, which may be regional. I'm from Yorkshire, and the very, very strong dialects within Yorkshire. Different areas just a few miles apart might have very different dialects, different words that they use, but also different phrases. And then there's also familect. Familect is, again, very complex and a really interesting area to look into, and is something that we completely overlook when we're thinking about AAC. So, for example, one family that I worked with, when I discussed this with them, and they said, oh yes, that's our Johnsonisms, we call those. So all those words they have within their family, they may have started by somebody saying a word by mistake and then it's stuck. or somebody saying something funnily and then that word has stuck for something. Quite often things like a name for a grandma. So if instead of saying grandma, they might have a Nana P and a Nana G to differentiate between two different grandmas. Or they might have a grandma, they might use a word from a different culture for one grandma. Those sorts of words are really, really important and really personal to an individual. So I think if you can imagine a situation where the siblings all have a name for the grandma, but a child using an AAC device has to call them by the word grandma because that's the one that's in their device, that can leave that child feeling very othered within their own family if they're not included in that familect. So this is a slide, it's obviously based on gender stereotypes here, so obviously I wouldn't use it to generalise, but just to give you a bit of an idea. There's lots of this out on the internet where you can look at different sociolects, the kind of words that different groups use. So this just gives you a bit of an idea of the difference between sort of some of this was done off social media posts, and just looking at the types of words that females tended to use on social media posts versus males. And it's really interesting. You can get these in terms of age groups. So if you look at what teenagers, the language that they use versus, say, elderly people, or even teenagers like pre-13, sort of 13 to 16 versus like people in their early 20s, it's very different when you start looking at the lexicon and the types of words that they use. It's really important that we think about what's the impact of missing words on somebody's communication. So words are used as a tool for social inclusion and for social exclusion. So words that are used within teen speak are deliberately there with the purpose of othering that group from other groups and making sure that those people are included in that group and that other people are excluded. We've all seen cringing examples of politicians where they try and take on teen speak to try and involve themselves or make themselves included. And it doesn't work. People are othered because of their words. Staying neutral doesn't work either. So just using core vocabulary wouldn't be enough for you to be included in those groups. So social inclusion and exclusion are a really important part of sociolect. If somebody wants to feel like they really belong and be really accepted in a social group, they need to use the language of that group. So these are some thoughts from an adult symbol AAC user. Some of you might recognise him from these comments. I'm sure lots of you have met Jamie or heard Jamie speak about this. He talks very openly about how people have always chosen his words for him and how he desperately wanted to get to the stage where he could choose his own vocabulary. So he was told when he started with AAC to start with needs and wants, but actually he could already do his needs and wants. He could do those with other means. But nobody suggested starting with swearing or naming all the ciders he liked. But those are the words that he needed, again, to that idea of socialising and fitting in with that social group. Recently, some of the symbols and words that he's added are things like ableism, mate, infantilisation, tattoo, nicknames for his children, all those sorts of words. So something like ableism is really important to him because he does lots of disability rights activism work. So he could have had the word fair and unfair on there, but that's not as strong as the word ableism. He's added the words that he needs to socialise with different groups. He socialises with different groups from people with disabilities, people from different cultural backgrounds, and he wants the words to join in with their groups and to be able to communicate with them. And that's been really important for him. There's some examples here of the kind of words that we're talking about. There's no way that I could put everything on here, but so these are just examples. I'm hoping that you can sort of find some on here and think, oh, actually, yes, I would really want that word. That would be really important to me. Okay, so just an example. So Squid Game is one of my favourite all-time Netflix shows, so that would be a really important one to me. Okay, whereas I don't knit, so I wouldn't need knit one, purl one. But if somebody was a really big knitter, I could imagine that being really important to them. We can never find all the words that somebody needs. We're set on an impossible task of trying to do that. Our sociolect and our individual lexicon changes over time. Again, Jamie talks about how his AAC is never going to be finished. It's a task that throughout his life he will constantly be changing it, constantly be adding his own words. He asks people to add words for him. And I think if we're trying to do that for somebody who can't communicate what words they need, then we're setting ourselves with an impossible task. Thank you for listening. I hope you've found that insightful. If anybody is really interested in sociolinguistics or sociolect, I would love to hear from you. It's an area that I'm really passionate about and constantly trying to find more about. And I think it's an area that we overlook when we're thinking about AAC. So yeah, I would be really interested in hearing if anybody's got any more thoughts on this. Thank you for listening.